Blake finally recalled the events of 5 years ago, a memory he had buried deep within. How can this be? No, this doesn't count, Laura. This doesn't count, he muttered, his voice trembling with disbelief. In a sudden burst of rage, he grabbed the divorce agreement and tore it to shreds. The papers fluttered to the ground like dying embers. Laura, he growled, I didn't say it's over, so don't you dare think about leaving me. He couldn't explain the obsession that gripped him, the primal refusal to let her go. Divorce? The very thought was unthinkable. Laura had been his constant for 5 years, obedient, devoted, and unwavering in her care. And now, she wanted to walk away. His chest tightened as he inhaled deeply, his decision clear. He grabbed his phone and barked an order to his assistant. Fine, Laura. I don't care what it takes. I want her location within 10 minutes. While Blake was turning Seattle upside down, I had already left. I had taken Riker back to my hometown, far away from the chaos and memories that haunted me. Nestled in the serenity of the countryside, I felt a peace I hadn't known in years. The quiet surroundings brought me clarity and endless inspiration. My phone remained off, severing every connection to the world I had left behind. I immersed myself in preparing my design plans. The next time Blake's name reached my ears, it came from his assistant. Soren had found me. He stood before me, his expression a mix of relief and hesitation. Blake has been searching for you tirelessly. He's practically turned Seattle inside out trying to find you. Hearing this, I couldn't suppress a bitter laugh. I picked up my phone, powered it on, and scrolled to the news notification I had seen earlier. Holding the screen toward Soren, I arched a brow. What does he want now? For me to attend his wedding? Soren faltered, his gaze dropping as he struggled to find the right words. The president? He's just... But even he couldn't finish the thought. Blake couldn't make sense of his own actions. Every day, he tirelessly searched for me, asking about me the moment he opened his eyes. So why had he suddenly announced his wedding to Kendall at such a critical moment? I shook my head, a wry smile playing on my lips. There's no need to explain for him, Soren. Let's go. I paused, then added calmly, but do pass along a message. Happy wedding. The words were simple, yet they carried a sincere weight. Despite the undignified end to our contract marriage, I truly hoped he would find the happiness he sought. Soren hesitated as though he wanted to say more, but Riker emerged just in time to send him off. To Riker, those 5 years I had given to Blake were nothing but a business transaction. 5 years of my youth exchanged for $5 million. With the deal concluded, freedom was supposed to be mine again. But freedom proved fleeting. 3 days later, when I returned to Seattle, I found myself cornered at the airport. Blake stood there like a shadow out of a dream, a black trench coat draped over his imposing frame. His expression was calm and cold, but his eyes betrayed him. They carried a weight, a storm of emotions he couldn't hide. For the first time, all eyes were on me. The bustling crowd surrounded me, their gazes varying, some curious, others filled with envy. But despite all the attention, I had never been the leading lady in Blake's life. He raised an eyebrow, his voice laced with mockery. So, you know how to come back, huh? I met his gaze, unwavering. I think I still have the right to choose where I go. His lips twisted in frustration. You're my wife. If you do and come home, where else would you go? I scoffed, my patience thinning. Wife, that was just a contract, Blake. It ended a long time ago, and the divorce agreement has already been set into motion. Do and tell me you've forgotten. He fell silent, his brow furrowing as the weight of my words settled. It's just a contract ending, he said finally. We can always continue it. How much do you want? 5 million? 10 million? Name your price. I couldn't help but laugh. I've already sold myself for 5 years, Blake. I'm done with that life. No more being tied down. No more having my world revolve around you. I've had enough. From the very start, we shouldn't have even been involved. Now that the contract is over, it's time for us both to move on and reclaim our lives. Blake seemed to ignore my words entirely, pushing forward relentlessly. I said, name your price. I didn't budge, not for a second. Can't you understand? I said, I didn't want to. I didn't want to be tied to a man for money. I didn't want to wait for happiness that was never meant to be mine. And, above all, I didn't want to endure the torment of hearing the man I once loved reveling in other women's arms every night. I would lose my sanity. But Blake didn't understand. All he saw was his bruised ego, wounded by public rejection. He laughed though there was nothing light about it. Fine, Laura. Very well. I won't ask you again. His voice grew colder, more vengeful. But mark my words, without me, don't even think you'll live in peace in Seattle. One day, you'll be on your knees, begging me. His face was contorted, dark, and menacing. I stared at him, meeting his fury with silence, before slowly shaking off his hand. Do as you wish. Seattle had already become suffocating, unbearable. If it were end for a few lingering tasks, I would have left at that moment. Blake stormed off, his followers trailing behind. That night, Blake declared his love for Kendall and announced their upcoming wedding. Come back and apologize. Promise to take care of Kendall, and I'll give you another chance. The wedding is in 2 days. You still have time. As I read his messages, I felt nothing but cold indifference. No pain, no regret, just a deep, bitter disappointment and an overwhelming sense of disdain. Our marriage had always been a transaction, a deal with no love at its core. And now that it was done, it was only natural for me to walk away. How could I ever go back to a union that was void of affection? I didn't care what would happen to him or whom he would choose to marry next. Seeing my indifference, Blake placed his love for Kendall in the spotlight, flaunting it for all to see. A grand fireworks display that lit up the night sky, a wedding dress worth millions, and a meticulously planned celebration. His so-called wedding of the century. Every so often, I'd receive messages from both Blake and Kendall. One desperately urging me to return, the other smugly parading their newfound happiness. Riker saw these messages, too, his brow furrowing as he used his phone to take screenshots. What's Blake trying to do now? Have his cake and eat it, too. Have you gotten your divorce certificate yet? I shook my head. Not yet. The lawyer said he doesn't agree to the divorce. I plan to leave it as it is. After 2 years of separation, the marriage will automatically dissolve. Riker placed his phone in front of me again, his gaze lingering on me for a moment. Then, as if struck by a thought, he asked, do you think Blake might have fallen in love with you and doesn't want you to go? I felt my eyes flicker, instinctively brushing off the thought. After 5 years, if Blake truly loved me, he wouldn't have treated me this way. Blake was selfish. He was willing to offer a small fortune just to get me back, not out of love, but so I could play the role of a maid, taking care of Kendall and making her happy. To him, I was still the same Laura, the one who could be bought. But he was wrong. 5 years had passed, and we had both changed. I would never again lock myself into another 5 years for money. From that moment on, whether Blake married 1 woman or 10, it would be none of my concern. 2 days later, Blake's wedding went ahead without me.